So hello everybody and welcome back to Street Journals episode 3. It's been a long time in the making, a lot of planning has gone into this one, and I have come here with my good friend
Nico.
He's got his film and we're going to do some street shooting with some film, and we're going to do a bit of talking to camera later to explain what Nico's using and why he's using it, and then we're going to mix it in with some GoPro point of view footage from my perspective and what I'm shooting this time as well. What film are you using today, Nico?
So today I opted for Portra 400. I wanted 800, but they didn't have the 800 because it's obviously very popular. They were completely out of stock. I wanted 800 because I wanted to shoot during when it was low light conditions, kind of go for the available light. I wanted to shoot more in the evening, but obviously right now it's not that dark. It's still quite bright. So I opted for the 400. I wanted to try the Portra because obviously, from what I've heard, it's people want that one because of obviously it's a portrait film stock. But I wanted it because you get more kind of you get more accurate colour renditions of an actual scene. That's what I want to go for, and obviously I just want to play around with that. And I've just been shooting out here in Soho while Sam's been recording me.
And you're using your Nikon FA,
yeah, I'm using the Nikon FA. Which I've bought recently. It's really good. I've heard really good stuff about the metering. It's got something called matrix metering, which I don't know too much about, but it's been quite helpful for me. I've been using aperture priority, so all I need to worry about is the aperture, the f-stop. I don't need to really worry about too much else. It tells me if it's overexposing or underexposing, which is great. So I just change the f-stop.
So for street stuff, it's a lot easier to just like run and gun and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot easier because I also was using the medium format, my Fujifilm GA645, which gave me some interesting results. But this,
I'll actually insert. I'll insert one of the photos here that you took of me on your medium format.
Yeah,
camera,
I was not expecting that. I was really impressed with how it came out on the CineStill. What was it? The CineStill 50D.
Yeah.
It was really impressive, but I haven't been using 35mm that much, but I'm really enjoying it, and I'm waiting to see how because I shot my first roll of film. I just gave it to aperture. What was it?
Aperture photo, yeah.
Aperture photo,
or something like that.
Yeah. And it's just getting processed, so I can't wait to see.
In Tottenham Court Road.
Yeah, can't wait to see the results of that. Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to keep going with it because I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Really enjoying it.
I'll link Nico's Instagram in the description below so you can go check him out, because obviously I don't want to include his work in my video. And yeah, we'll crack on with the rest of this video. So the camera that I'm using today is the Fujifilm X100F, which which is one of my favourite cameras for doing street photography, and I'll just insert some B-roll of me using the built-in ND filter, which really helps for like protecting my highlights and making sure that I can quickly change my exposure to something quite a lot darker, which really helps when doing like on the go running gun street photography. When you don't have that time to just really quickly adjust, you can just slap on the ND filter, which really darkens everything down, allows me to do my sort of black and white style of like really intense highlights and dark shadows. So that's one of the things that I really enjoy using about the Fujifilm. But from now on, I think I'm just going to switch over to my GoPro so we can get some more point of view stuff, and then from there on we'll just do some more street photography, because I really want to concentrate on getting some good images for the rest of the evening. So yeah, enjoy the following point of view from my end. So it's now the following day, and welcome to my little music room studio setup. I'm still trying to figure out this entire setup and trying to get the lighting right and making sure that I can rely on just having the light source there and not have to worry about window light and things like that. So apologies, I'll get there eventually. I've just got the images on my phone, like I'm going to keep doing, just to address some things that I want to talk about, my experiences and what went well and what went alright, I guess. So the first thing I want to talk about really is shooting with Nico and what that was like as an experience. Nico is one of my closest friends, and I've known him for almost a year and a half now, which is crazy. We go to university together, we're both going into our second year, and it's kind of astonishing how he's progressed throughout this whole year. When I first met Nico, he was doing this very sort of contrasty, gritty, like sort of everybody's starting out doing street photography, and now he's like completely escalated. His Instagram following has exploded in the past year. He's got quite a few thousand followers now, which is amazing, and it's really good. It's really good to see his work is getting appreciated by others in the community. But also just watching Nico take photos on the street, it's quite remarkable. And for want of a better word, he's kind of ballsy when it comes to his street photography. Like, he really gets up in people's grill. I'm not personally a fan of doing that, but you know, he comes away with fantastic images. If you haven't seen his Tube Tales series, I believe that's what it's called, Tube Tales. I'll link his Instagram in the description below. You can go check him out there, and it's an amazing piece of amazing sort of collection of work that he's put together over the years, over this past year, called Tube Tales, and it's really effective, and it's just portraits of people on the tube. So I think you should go and check that out, first of all. And second of all, there is a moment where in the video that I've actually cut it out, where Nico like zooms off into the crowd. He sees this bunch of dudes wearing like these what do you call them, like bowler hats, I guess, or what they call it, begins with an F, I can't remember, and in like traditional suits and attire, and he spots them in the crowd, and he's really into like creating timeless work, which is actually a video that I'm gonna work on, which is going to be called Creating Timeless Work. And he really sort of seeks those kind of people out, and he just zoomed off into the crowd, and I lost him. And there's like a good 2 minutes of me walking through this crowd. It's just all you can see is the backs of people. So I decided to cut that out. But just to give you an idea of what Nico can be like, he can be very up in your face, which is always entertaining to watch, and to see people's reactions as well. Because some people just sort of like, okay, this is London, people do this kind of thing. And some people get a bit worked up, which is sometimes a good thing, because you get a really genuine image. And if you get to that point where you're just starting to irritate them, then do it. Like, who cares? Like, they're gonna either say, can you just back off, or you're gonna get an absolute banger of an image. So the next part I want to talk about is my imagery. I'm not going to talk about any of Nico's imagery and what he got, because I think you should just go and look at his Instagram. He'll be uploading his images throughout the week, and well, whenever he wants to, I guess. So go and check his stuff out, and then I'm just going to talk about my personal experiences and my work on this channel. So like I did in the last episode, I've just got the images up on my phone so I can have a visual reference of what I'm saying. Now when we went out, the light was really low, and it was this sort of low winter light that you get in the UK, I guess. I think everybody knows what I'm talking about when I say that. And because we're obviously shifting towards that end of the year, and it's getting colder and the light's getting a lot lower. If anybody can explain to me why that is, then that'd be excellent. And there was this sort of haze around. I think we were in Soho for the majority of the evening, and there was this haze, and I'm not sure what it was, but it created this amazing atmosphere, and the light really was shining through all the buildings and creating all these shadows and casting it on people. And yeah, I just got a really nice set of images that, you know, they're not my best work, but it's workable. So the images I'm going to show in this video, I probably will work a little bit more in post-production, just to get them to how I want, up to the standard that I think is suitable for putting anywhere. But for now, I'll just show you the images that I've quickly edited today, just so I can talk about them, and whilst it's still fresh in my mind. So the first image that I want to talk about is an image of a group of people crossing a road at a pedestrian crossing, and it's not a particularly stunning street photograph, but the colours and the really harsh flare that is going on throughout this image, and I think the flare actually created a slight green tint across the image, and I'm not sure if that's to do with how it refracted in the lens, or again, if anybody knows why, then let me know. But I sort of like this image just as an image. I think it sort of captures the essence of being in a busy part of London, with the green man and everybody crossing, and people are on their phones and talking and things like that, and I think it just captures the whole vibe quite well. I don't like the word vibe, but you know what I mean. And I've taken a series of black and white images again because that's sort of the street style that I tend to lean towards, because it makes me focus on light and composition a lot more, I feel anyway. And also it creates so much drama within the image, and it's really powerful, I think, a black and white image that's good. So the first of those images I'm going to talk about it's just of a crowd. I was just walking through this crowd and I had my camera up, and people were just sort of walking past me and they weren't taking any notice of me particularly, and I just had my camera and I was just snapping away, and I came up with this sort of quite nice composition. There's this guy that's walking past me, he's got sunglasses on, and the sunglasses some people might find distracting, but I feel like it sort of hides his face a lot more, so he's not massively distracting in the photograph. I feel like if you saw his face, you would concentrate on that a lot more, because obviously you just directly look at somebody's eyes, and if they're covered up, then you tend to sort of look away from them, I feel anyway. And it's just this sort of nice curve across the group of people, and it's got flare in it because of the sun was really low, and I just quite like it. Again, it's just a nice image. The second image I want to talk about is of this guy going into this light bulb shop. And light bulb shops are a little bit sort of Instagrammy, but I didn't really take photos of the lights as such. You know, you can get those like pendant lamps with like the halogen thing and whatever. I just wanted to capture these out of focus elements on one side of the image and then have the street on the other half. So I sort of had my camera up against the glass, so you get half of the shop and half of the street, and also the reflection of whatever is in the street. And I got this guy walking into this shop, and his leg is still in the street and it's reflected in the glass, and I think it just works. Again, it just works really well. It's got the divided in the middle because of obviously where the shop is, and then the division with the street, and I think it's almost quite comical as well, so I quite like it in that regards. And I'll just put up a few more images of sort of expressions and people that I got whilst I was walking around. Some of them aren't brilliant. There's a couple of them that are slightly out of focus, but you can still see the expression of the person, and I think that's what counts, I guess. I think it doesn't have to be perfect, and I think that's almost what I appreciate more, is when people share images that aren't perfect, because it shows that you are either mistaken in the moment and you're going to learn from that mistake, or it was your intention, and it just sort of makes it seem a bit more raw and real, I guess. There's just another image I want to talk about very briefly, is of these purple bags that you see everywhere. I think it's on a Friday or a Wednesday or whenever they put out the rubbish in London around town. Everybody seems to have these purple bin bags, and I don't know what they're for. I think it might be a private company that provides the bags, and then they go and scoop them up. But I'm trying to do this more colour matching throughout the scene, so have the focus on something else and then have out of focus elements in the scene match the colours of whatever I focused on. So I had my camera focused on these purple bags, and I was waiting for somebody to either be wearing a purple coat or a hat or something to walk past. And I got this one frame and it's okay, it's not brilliant. There's somebody inside the store wearing a pink shirt as well, so it almost looks like I've colour coded to him, but the lady on the right hand side of the image is going to be obviously the main focus when it comes to the coordination of colour in the image. And it's okay, it works. I think I could have experimented a bit more in that location, but for what it's worth, I felt I could just move on and get some images elsewhere. And that leads me on to the final image that I want to talk about. And there's two versions of it. I've got a colour one and a black and white one, just because I wanted to see what the difference was when you convert it to black and white to see if you can add more drama. Because it's quite a busy scene despite it only being of a couple of things. So it's of a window in a pub. And I think quite a few people who shoot around Soho will know where this pub is because it's got this beautiful glass that's just really intricate, and the way it's been made, it's got these amazing patterns going across it, and it just looks fantastic. And it's slightly frosted, so whatever's behind it will be soft. And I think it looks really nice if you get like a silhouette behind that and you get this really nice soft outline of somebody behind the glass. And I got this one guy who was just sitting down having a conversation with somebody, and I just got the outline of his face, and you can ever so slightly see the corner of his mouth from where he's speaking. If you sort of zoom in or look closely at the image, you'll be able to see it. And I've also got the colour version of it, and he's wearing a blue t-shirt or a shirt, but unfortunately there's a bit of a blue cast on the windowsill outside, and it's like a black gloss, and there's like a blue light shining on it from somewhere. And that sort of, I feel, ruins the colour because it's quite obvious actually. It's at the bottom of the image. It just sort of takes away the simplicity of the photo, I guess. But I could get rid of it in Photoshop. I could, desaturate it if I want to do locally. But for now, I think I'll stick with the black and white image to publish, and I think I'll just keep the colour one just to try and work on in the background, see if I can make it work for myself and get to a point where I'm happy with the image. So there you have it. That is the end of Street Journals episode 3. I got the name right this time. I didn't get it right when I first started to introduce this episode. But thank you so much for watching. I've really enjoyed making this series so far. Sorry it's been such a large gap between this one and the other one. I've recently started a new job and university and everything like that. So thank you for being patient with me. Thank you for all the feedback and support on the last few videos. So that was episode 1, episode 2, and the discussing the theft of people's work on Instagram, or theft of people's work on Instagram. That was such an amazing response from the community, and I really appreciated it. It was nice to see people engaging with me both on YouTube and on Instagram because of that video, and to see everybody sort of chipping in. And I think that's what I want to try and portray in these videos, is the sense of community, and try and collaborate more with people within the community as well. So with that being said, if you are a street photographer and you are based in London and you are watching this, reach out to me on Instagram, reach out to me via my website or wherever. It'd be great to have a chat. It'd be great to maybe do a podcast as well. That's something else I'm trying to get more into now that I've got a bit of free time to try and work on things. So apart from that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.